All right, I'm here to talk to you guys about debugging. So, I'm mostly just going to go over what I went over in the lecture, but make a video of it so you guys can use it for further reference. So, here is my example. I'm trying to find the area of a triangle and verify that it is a valid triangle. So, if we look here, it looks like the function can't run because we have a broken arrow. So let's look at the code. So we see here we have some broken run lines. Can never run with broken run lines. Also, there's a couple other things that we can notice right off the bat, but let's delve in. And usually when I try to debug something, the first thing I'll go to is the list errors. So what do we got? We got greater than 0, so let's double click this. So this wire is broken, so let's figure out why this wire is broken. So what we have here is an output, and what it's looking for is an input, a user input. So what we need to do is we need to change this to a control, and now we should be fine. So this has an output, this output goes into this input, and everything's a-okay. So now let's go back and check and see what else is wrong. The sub VI area of a triangle is not executable. So we go into here, it looks like there's some problem with our sub VI. All we need to do is we can double click it, it pulls up the sub VI, and let's see what the problem is. Divide contains unwired or bad terminals, so we can show the error. So it looks like this isn't wired up right. So it needs, you can't ever have, if it requires inputs, it can't leave it open-ended. So I'm just going to create a constant. It looks like this should be divided by 2, and then that should be good. So now if we feel confident with that, we can try running it. So it says area of the triangle not a number. Is that not? No, that's good. So let's see what the problem is. So one thing I like to do, I like to look at the problem. You can always turn on highlight execution, and what that does is it slows the program down and lets you see how everything runs. So let's turn that on and see what happens. We get this, we get a negative 1.5 coming out of there, and these should all be positive numbers coming in, so there's something wrong here. Also, if we want to retain the wire values, that way later on we can try to probe to see what numbers are on here. Let's run that again. Let's pause it. Now we can see what numbers are coming in. So we have 4.5, 3. So 3 minus 4.5 is negative 1.5. So I think what we want to do is we want to swap these numbers around. So delete that. And delete this. And now let's run it. So let's make sure, if we want to run it for real, let's make sure that the highlight execution is turned off. So 2, 3, 4, it looks like we got an area of 2.9. I'm going to guess that's the right number. So let's save those changes and let's go back to our problem. Let's close this. Doesn't look like there's any errors right now, but let's see what else is wrong. So 6, 8, 10, area of a triangle, but the valid triangle isn't highlighting. So let's see what the problem is there. So again, this time there's a lot going on. I'm just going to step through the program. So what that does is it lets you go through each loop. So first thing it does, it goes to this case structure, and the case structure runs, has a default case. Now next thing it does is it runs this greater than or less than. So what it looks like, we want this to be a greater than 0, not less than 0. So what we can do here is we can stop the program and replace it with greater than 0. So let's try stepping through the program. So it checks all those look all right. It goes into there, runs through this. If you're inside a sub VI, you need to step out of the function. So you can use this finished block diagram. If you want to step over, I could have once I came to this, I could have just stepped past it using step over. So now it goes to adding them up and comparing it. Now let's see. So it adds this up here. You get 14 coming out of there. You get 16 coming out of here. Unfortunately, I turned on the save retain wire value too late. So let's try running it one more time. And let's see. So we got 16 here, 18 here, and 14 there. 10, 8, and 6. So I think what happened here is we want to swap these two wires here. Now I go all into the compare an OR statement, and then the result pops out here. I'm going to let you guys know that that's all correct, or should all be correct now. So now some other things that we want to make sure. So we have a case structure here. We always want to make sure that a case structure either has a default scenario or it incorporates all numbers or all options. So let's say, you know, this can input any number from negative infinity to infinity. So we could have this be from negative infinity to 0, and then another case be 1 to positive infinity, and then that would incorporate all possible values. Or you can have a default case where just one of the, if it's outside of any of the numbers that you've predetermined, then it just defaults to this 0 case. You can select any case to be your default case. You could have 1. You can just simply make this the default case. Another thing you want to be careful of is your event structures. You never have an event structure, two event structures in the same while loop. So just be careful of that, because what happens is when you run your loop, it waits for one event to happen, it waits for this other event to happen, and then it goes back on the loop. So let's say I did one event and then I did the same event again, it freezes up the loop, and unfortunately you can't see it here because I don't have a timer, but So when I hit both of them, oh, sorry. Oh, well, also these are waiting for timeout conditions. So I have to edit these event case so that it's whenever the Boolean hits. Same thing here. Now let's see what happens. So one triggers, it doesn't change. The other one triggers, now it changes. Same thing, 1, 1, it changes. And that's fine as long as both of them, the events happen. But let's say I do this a couple times, now everything freezes up and I can't press anything. So that's why you never want to keep two event structures in the same while loop. One way to fix that is simply moving all this into here, move that back there, and then you can create another indicator there. But other than that, I think that should solve any debugging issues, so let me know if you have any problems.